Hello, I'm Hamari, and I'm from Australia. Please like and subscribe to STA. Growing up, I was a fun and brave little girl, and everyone loved me. But not everyone loved Marcus, a boy my age at school. He was so nervous around kids, and because of this, they took advantage of him. There was this one time, Marcus was flying his paper plane, and then I saw a group of bigger guys snatch it away. Marcus ran away nervously, but I took him right back to the boys. Marcus, if you keep running, these boys will always push you around. Come on, we're going back for your plane. But it's just a piece of paper. I don't need it. I ignored his fears, took his hand, and marched back to the boys. You boys have something of his, and you will give it back right now. What are you gonna do, shorty? I showed him that dynamite comes in small packages. And after they gave Marcus his plane, he asked me something. Can we be friends? And you can teach me how to be brave like you. Say that again. Louder, please. We became the best of friends after that, and as we grew up, the more confident he became, and the more I grew fond of him. Marcus and I became so close that people thought we were a couple. But he was like a brother to me, and he would do anything for me, like even catch a bee in his bare hands. Ah! Marcus, help! Got it! I hugged him tightly, and then I quickly let go at the sound of my boyfriend's Ferrari. Aaron was my man. We met while starring in a popular teen sitcom. Yep, I'm a celebrity, but I worked hard to get there. Unlike Aaron, whose dad was the producer of the show we starred in. Aaron was also very overprotective. Hey, babe, what are you doing here on the dirty grass? Don't be silly, babe. Where else do people have picnics? As Aaron hugged me, I could see Marcus's mood change because Aaron and him never clicked. I see your best friend has been feeding you crackers and cheese again. Amari, when are you gonna dump this fool? Because clearly, he has no idea what good food tastes like. Marcus loved cooking, and he was always treating me to his meals. Aaron, sweetie, why don't you meet me in the car, and I'll help Marcus pack up? Okay. I can't wait till you see the restaurant I booked for us. Aaron always took me out to the most expensive places, but this time, while we were there, a gorgeous model approached our table. Hey, Aaron, I thought you would be at the club today. Everyone was asking for you. I'll be there later. Just having dinner with my friend. A friend? Is that what I am to you? Just a friend? He looked at me silently, and I lost my mind and threw my soda in his face. Happy Friends Day, Aaron! Jerk! As I walked away, he ran after me, but the blonde girl was right behind him, and I became even more mad. Hamari, wait, I didn't mean it like that. Oh, let her go. She clearly doesn't want you, but you can be my boyfriend. I turned into a total psycho when she said that, and I jumped on the girl and started pulling at her hair. And before I knew it, reporters suddenly filled the area taking pictures of me. Hamari, you're embarrassing yourself. It's over, Aaron! Don't ever speak to me again! Days later, every magazine and newspaper had my face in the front page, with me pouncing on the blonde girl, and they called me the she-devil. And Mom was on panic mode, since my acting job paid half the mortgage for our house. Amari, what were you thinking? We depend on your acting job to pay the bills. If you lose that, then I would have to work 24 hours at the hospital. I didn't lose my job, Mom. It's just bad publicity. Mom worked as a nurse, and she's been my backbone since my dad left us when I was just 2 years old. I stayed indoors for the past few days, trying to avoid all the gossip that was going on. I refused to leave my room until Marcus entered. Can I come in? I immediately jumped out of bed when I saw Marcus and hugged him tightly. Is that a cheese beanie you have on? Thank God you came, Marcus. She's been sulking in bed for days. Maybe you can also convince her to take a bath. I'm so glad to see you. Where have you been? You look different, like you've been losing weight. Don't worry about me. Let's talk about you. I feel like hiding in a hole for the rest of my life. I'm sure this will cheer you up. Marcus knew exactly how to make me feel better. And when I took a big bite into the chocolate, I spat it out when Aaron suddenly appeared. Mom, why did you let him in? Listen, things got out of control that night. I shouldn't have called you my friend. You are so much more, and you know that. The blonde girl was just a groupie. Please, Amari, don't do this to us. When Aaron wanted to get closer to me, Marcus stepped forward and mugged at him. This is none of your business, Marcus. She doesn't want to speak to you, moron. Amari, please, let me explain. I looked at Aaron, and my heart usually melted just looking at his puppy dog eyes. So I gave him a chance to speak to me. Marcus, it's okay. I'll see you later. You can't be serious, Hamari. He is the reason the whole country is hating on you.
Don't make things worse, Mr. Cracker Cheese Beanie.
Marcus looked at me disappointed. But Aaron and I have been in a relationship for 6 months. I couldn't just throw that all away because of a blonde groupie. So, I forgave him. Aaron and I worked on our relationship, but Marcus distanced himself a lot from me. I became so focused on my acting, school, and Aaron that sometimes I forgot to check on him until I saw him running to the bathroom holding his mouth once.
Marcus, what's up?
I waited outside the boys' bathroom and could hear him throwing up. And when he finally came out, he looked so pale and collapsed in my arms. I remember that I did notice the weight loss, but I was so focused on my life that I forgot about him.
Everything is going to be okay, Hamari. I'm sure it's nothing big.
But you didn't see how he looked, Mom. I feel like such a bad friend.
When the doctor came, I held Mom's hand tightly.
You can see him now. He just forgot to take his treatment.
Treatment for what?
Leukemia? I assumed you knew about this.
I was so shocked, and my heart raced at the thought of losing Marcus. He has been there for me, like, forever. Even Mom didn't have that kind of bond with me. When I went in to see him, he wasn't wearing his beanie, and he didn't look like Marcus anymore. I couldn't control my tears as he smiled at me.
Why didn't you tell me?
Because I didn't want you to be sad. Please don't cry. I'm going to get through this.
Marcus always put my feelings before his. I promised to be there for him throughout his sickness, and he asked me to keep it a secret. And then one day, when Aaron held a beach party just for fun, I also invited Marcus, and Aaron showed me a completely different side to him.
Why did you invite him? I thought you would spend time with just me.
Marcus is my friend, and you have to accept that.
You guys want to play a game of volleyball? Yeah, sure. Himari will be on my team. So why don't you just pick someone to join you?
When I tossed the ball over the net to Marcus, he hit it back, but it flew directly to Aaron, hitting him hard on the head. It was so funny.
Oh! So you all think this is funny?
It's just a game, babe.
I'm so sick and tired of you saying things like that. It's just a game. He's just your friend. But you guys have picnics, homemade dinner dates, and now he's here at my party. I guess all my fancy restaurant dates were never good enough for you.
Aaron, calm down. Aaron went overboard and started yelling at me. Then Marcus stepped in, and Aaron completely lost himself.
Hey, chill out, dude. I'll chill once you get out of our lives. Well, I'm not going anywhere. I was in her life long before you, and I plan on being there right until the end.
Marcus and Aaron pounced on each other, and I tried to separate them, but they were way out of control. And suddenly, Aaron pulled the beanie off Marcus's head, and everyone froze, glaring.
Oh my gosh, what happened to all his hair?
Aaron, have you lost your mind?
Are you going to defend this fool?
Look around, Aaron. You're the only fool here. I left Aaron after that day, and my love for him immediately disappeared. I felt like such a fool to love a jerk like that. Because of Aaron, I lost my acting job, and Aaron did all that he could to convince his father to get rid of me. Months down the line, we lost our house. We had to move into a tiny apartment, and Mom worked double shifts, while I focused a lot on school. It was the end of the year, and school fees were due, but we couldn't afford it. Is it possible for me to get an exemption from paying the school fees?
What are you talking about? It shows here that your school fees have been paid in full.
I was so shocked. I had no idea who could have done something so generous for me. It couldn't have been Marcus, since he came from an average home like me. And Aaron was so yesterday's news. And if that wasn't strange, days later, I found an envelope in my locker filled with cash. The only person rich enough to do all this was Aaron, but it just didn't make sense, so I approached him. I hated being anywhere near Aaron after we broke up, since he started dating a new girl every day just to make me jealous. But it never worked.
Hello, Himari. Have you met my present girlfriend?
Oh, wow. Lucky you, Aaron. Now, did you leave something in my locker?
Yes, I actually did. Your poor mother paid me a visit and begged me to take you back, since your life is falling apart. So I paid for your school fees and donated some cash. I'll take you back on one condition. Tell Marcus you want nothing to do with him.
But you're dating me now.
Sorry, honey. I thought I told you that this was a short-term contract.
I was shocked out of my mind after what he told me, so I threw the envelope of cash in his face. Sorry to burst your bubble, Aaron, but no amount of money can buy me. I was so mad at my mom that right after school, I went to her workplace and found her sleeping on the job.
Right! So just because you can't keep your eyes open at your job, it doesn't give you the right to go behind my back and speak to Aaron.
Himari, I did it for your own good. Life was good when you and Aaron were together.
Mom, how could you?
Oh, honey, I'm so sorry. I'll fix it.
No! Just stay out of my business!
But I'm your mother. I will always be in your business.
I felt so betrayed by my mom, and the only person that could comfort me in this state was Marcus. So I went to his house. But when I got to his house, I was surprised to find him sitting with a girl.
Amari, is everything okay? You look like you were crying.
Oh, no. I just have a slight flu. Who's your lady friend here?
This is Amy. She's an intern at the hospital where I get my treatment.
Oh, is she here to give you your treatment at home?
No, we're actually here on a date. I cooked her one of my best meals. There's some left over if you want.
I was so speechless at that moment. I don't know why I felt so jealous. Nice to meet you, Amy. She looked like a sweet girl, but there was this thing inside of me that felt like pouncing on her and telling her to leave Marcus alone because he was mine. I decided to leave before I did anything crazy. The next day, when I saw Marcus sitting alone in the cafeteria, I made my way to him, but stopped when his girlfriend got there before me and sat on his lap. I almost dropped my tray feeling so frustrated, but then Aaron appeared in front of me.
Are you lost? You could sit with me if you want to.
I'd rather eat worms than sit with you. Aaron became such a nonsense, especially after seeing that Marcus had a girlfriend. He even got his father to offer me my job back, but I had my pride. I was shocked when his dad started making small talk. After school, when I was about to jump into my Mini Cooper, Aaron's father suddenly appeared in the parking lot. Talk about being desperate.
I'll give you 2 popular shows you can star in. Just give Aaron one more chance.
With all due respect, sir, you should really stop spoiling your son. How will he survive if your existence comes to an end? After rejecting the job offer to be back on the screen, I decided to start my own little channel on YouTube. Don't be afraid to try different colors, everyone, even if you're struggling to match them up with your cute outfit. Subscribe to my channel for more ways you can have that glam. Within months, I had 1 million subscribers and started earning an income again. I was more than happy, and the only thing that was missing was Marcus. He spent a lot of his time with his new girlfriend, and I became almost invisible to him until our high school graduation.
Amari, before you go, can I have a word with you for a moment?
Yeah, sure. Marcus looked so handsome in his gown, and when he held my hand to take me aside, I felt so many sparks between us. And then he pulled out a paper plane, the same plane that I saved when a group of mean boys surrounded Marcus when we were little. Wow, you kept this all this time?
Yeah, it was the first day we became friends. And I hope that we are still friends, even though I'm with Amy.
When I looked into his eyes, my heart pounded with so much love for him that I did the unthinkable. I leant over and kissed him softly, and just then his girlfriend appeared, and Marcus pushed me away.
Why did you do that?
Yeah, why did you do that? I thought you were just his friend. I found the courage to tell him how I felt, right in front of his girlfriend. Marcus, I think I have more than friendship feelings for you. It looked like he was going to say the same thing back to me, but then his girlfriend whispered in his ear.
I'm sorry you feel that way, but I see you as just a friend.
I never felt so humiliated and broken down before. I spent days crying about Marcus and looking back at all the memories we shared, until Mom became tired of me moping around.
Okay, that's enough, young lady. Remember, the sea is filled with fishes. Now that you're done with high school, you can go out there and explore.
Are you chasing me away?
No, silly, but you need to spread your wings. You're already earning a good living doing that YouTube thing, so why not enjoy life at the same time?
Mom was right. Maybe going on a trip would help me forget about Marcus. So I traveled to China, South Africa, Italy, and when I got to New York, I made some connections with Hollywood producers. And the next thing, I was producing movies. I became a big-time producer. And one day, I decided to fly back to my hometown in Australia on a talent search for a star actor for my up-and-coming production. And Aaron suddenly appeared, and he was auditioning for my movie. If we consider you for this role, are you willing to travel?
Of course. Acting is my passion.
He looked and sounded more grown up, and I was impressed with his performance. I decided to give him the lead role, and then we sat down to discuss the contract.
I'm so glad to see you again. I can't believe you are a big-time producer now.
Yeah, and I can't believe you auditioned for my production.
Well, I'm glad I did. I grew up a lot after high school, and I want you to see that.
Once I felt the discussion was going sideways, I made it very clear to him that our relationship was professional. He seemed to understand, and then Marcus suddenly showed up standing at our table, and Aaron looked so angry. Marcus, how did you know that I was here?
Your mom told me that you were having dinner with Aaron, and I had to see you before.
We are in the middle of something very important here.
I was shocked at Aaron's actions, but what was happening reminded me of high school. Marcus, I'm in an important meeting. Can we catch up later?
No, I need you to know something. When we were in high school, Aaron threatened to ruin your YouTube channel with bad publicity. He was going to make up some story about you cheating on him, so
I agreed to be in a fake relationship with his cousin Amy.
My heart raced with so much rage when he told me that. I know Marcus would do anything to protect me.
He's lying. Don't believe him. We are meant for each other.
I threw my soda in Aaron's face, tore up the contract, and walked out with Marcus. Marcus and I had a lot to talk about, and I was happy that the leukemia was gone and he looked so much stronger.
I'm sorry that I wasn't with you throughout the worst stages of your illness.
Every time I thought of you, I fought harder. Omari, you're not only my best friend, but also my soulmate.
His words made me cry, and my broken heart for so many years was finally healed.
Hi, I'm Collins, prince of a faraway kingdom called Setia. I was born to the two worst parents ever. Dad and Mom were the king and queen of Setia, and they were the worst the town had ever seen. They shamelessly stole and ate the town's money, and also believed that we were above everyone else because we were royals. My brother, Gerald, who was 2 years older than me, was exactly like them. Selfish, and a big, empty-headed hunk who was only interested in growing his intimidating biceps and nothing else. I came out different though. Every time I got a chance, I helped people, even if Mom and Dad didn't like that very much. Once, when I was 10, I heard this girl crying by the castle gates.
Somebody! Anybody! I need help! My mom needs medication and we don't have any money.
My brother Gerald walked up to her and pushed her away from the gates, and then he was so rude.
Get away from the castle, peasant. There are doctors all over the village. Go ask them for medication. This isn't a hospital.
I don't have any money for that. The king and queen took our farmland away. Please help me.
Get lost!
I decided that was enough, but before I could do anything, the girl stood up to my barbaric brother, unwavered by his scare tactics.
You're a cow, and you don't scare me.
I think I had fallen in love. Gerald angrily shut the gates on her, and that was my cue to sneak through them later with a bag of coins still from his cloak, as vengeance for what he did to her. I found her at the same spot, looking so helpless. I can help you. She turned to me with big, brown eyes, which I'd never forget. And then I took out the bag of coins and gave it to her.
Thank you so much.
She hugged me and ran off before I could ask her name. As I stood up, my leg kicked something. It was a locket. Inside of it was an old picture of a man and a woman I guessed were her parents. I kept it and promised to return it whenever I saw her. But after that day, I never saw her again. In the next few weeks, I busied myself with caring for my plants as Gerald continued to be a menace.
Hey, Colin, knock, knock.
Not again. I slapped a hand across my face, exhausted of hearing his dumb jokes.
It's a big, sweet, juicy piece of chicken. Nothing you'll ever know about. Vegan, real men eat these instead of ugly, foul broccolis.
Well, why don't you have this? I swung a corpse flower in his face, and the smell drained the blood from his face. He screamed like a girl, and I burst out laughing. Years passed. A harsh winter hit my village, destroying all of our crops and plunging us into months of famine. As everyone struggled to manage, my parents continued to harass them for everything they had. And as soon as they realized that the people were too poor to sustain their extravagance, they organized a search party.
You brave men and women are the only hope of Setia. I put my strong sons Gerald and Collins in charge of you. You'll leave the town and search for ripe farmlands and other places. Once you find anything, report back to the palace. I wish you luck.
We left that day and trudged through the deep snow searching for farmlands until a thick tornado struck the group on the 4th day and separated us. I was whirled away from Gerald and the group. When I woke up the next morning, I found myself in a lush forest. I walked around, admiring the greenery around me. Suddenly, I heard a growl behind me. Chilling fear shook my bones as I turned around and came face to face with a 7-foot bear. My skin prickled with goosebumps. And just when I thought I was done for, a girl jumped out of the bushes and grabbed me by the hand. We dashed through the dense bushes until we'd given the bear some distance.
I think it stopped chasing us.
Thank you for saving me. I'm Collins. What's your name?
I'm Raven.
She stood straight, and I was faced with the most beautiful lady I'd ever seen. She reminded me of one of the strong, tall Amazons I often read about in books.
What are you looking at?
I tried to speak, but I felt like a cat caught my tongue.
Uh-oh! It seems like it found us again. Come on!
We ran until we reached a small cottage in the middle of the forest.
Welcome to my humble abode.
You live here all by yourself? Isn't it too dangerous for you?
Nothing can scare me. In fact, They should all be scared of me.
The confident way she spoke gave me a sense of déjà vu, and the brave girl from years back came into my thoughts. You know, you look quite familiar.
I've heard a lot of pickup lines from guys, but that one is new. A for effort, but I don't think we've ever met, handsome.
Wait, I'm really serious. I brought out her locket from my pockets. I've been carrying it around with me since that day, hoping it would lead me to that fierce owner who had faced Gerald, the girl I'd fallen in love with. And now, she was right in front of me. Remember this? You dropped it all those years ago when I helped you with money for your mom's illness. She looked at it as if it were a foreign object, so I opened the locket and showed her the picture of the people inside. I thought she recognized them for a moment, but her expression changed to a frown.
I told you I don't know you. That silly locket isn't going to change my mind. And have you never heard of doppelgangers?
It's just you look so alike. I closed the locket and slipped it back into my pocket, quite disappointed that she wasn't the one. Raven let me stay with her because I had nowhere else to go. I learned quite a lot about her in that while. How she loved music and loved to dance. We went on food gathering trips together, and in the process, I showed her all of my favorite plants and what I loved about each one. This is the Middle Mist Red. It's one of the prettiest and rarest flowers in the world.
It looks like a rose.
But it's not. It's actually a type of camellia flower. It'll look pretty on you.
Why don't we try?
She turned to the side, and I slipped the flower into her hair.
Well, what do you think?
I was stunned by her beauty. There were no words to express how beautiful I thought she was. It looks so beautiful on you.
Thank you.
She grabbed my arm.
Come on, there's something I want to show you.
I followed her as she excitedly led me past some beautiful glowing trees to a sea with an old ship tied to an abandoned dock. We found a lot of boxes in its storage. Wow, so many boxes. What do you think are in them?
Why don't you open one and find out?
I opened one of the boxes and was shocked to find it filled with diamonds. Where did they all come from?
I have no idea. They're my ticket out of here, to somewhere better. We could share them if you want.
Raven and I spent our night on the ship, staring at the stars and talking about our futures. I forgot all about Gerald and everyone until the next morning, when I woke up and found myself surrounded by Gerald and the search group.
Today is your lucky day, Collins. Your big brother has come to save you.
How did you find me?
You weren't easy to find, but thanks to my excellent tracking skill, we tracked the debris from the tornado to here.
Gerald started to walk around, looking at everything in awe, and I just knew in that instant what he had in mind.
Look at all these plants. It can feed an entire town for years.
As if that wasn't bad enough, my back collided with one of the ship's boxes, which fell and spilled diamonds. I shifted to hide them from Gerald, but it was too late.
Diamonds, too? We're about to be the richest royal family in all of Europe.
None of the things in the forest belong to you.
Don't tell me you'll starve an entire town because you're a plant freak.
Gerald directed the search party to take whatever they could find, and there was nothing I could do to stop them. Meanwhile, Raven had disappeared into thin air. I looked around for her, but she was nowhere to be found. I really hoped she was safe. I watched my brother and the group clear most of the forest in a single day, and we returned home. Mom and Dad had greeted us and then directed the guards to take the diamonds to storage. Aren't we supposed to distribute everything to the kingdom?
It's still for the people. We're just helping to preserve it.
But I knew they were lying. When they went to bed that night, I crept into the storage room and stole some food, which I gave to the villagers. Gerald and the group returned to the forest every day to get more food, and I followed them on several occasions, hoping to see Raven. I never found her, but I did discover some Middle Mist flowers, which I brought back to the palace and planted all around. They made me think of Raven. A month passed since I last saw her, until one night I had been sleeping when a loud commotion in the palace woke me up. I went to check on the source and was shocked to find the servants running around in terror. But that wasn't my biggest shock. It was Raven right in the middle of the chaos. In fact, she was causing it.
Ha-ha! Run, wimps! I'm your new queen now!
Raven?
Oh, hey there, my prince. Or should I say, princeless?
Her guards laughed like she had said something funny. What do you think you're doing?
What does it look like? I'm taking over the kingdom from your bad parents.
What? I thought you wanted to travel and explore the world.
That was all a lie I told you to get you to trust me. I knew it wouldn't be long before you royalties revealed your greed and you proved me right. Just like all those years ago when you gave me a bag of stones instead of coins.
What? That wasn't me. It had to be that moron Gerald. He had filled the bag up with stones, not coins. I'm sorry. I honestly thought they were coins. That means the locket is yours. Why did you lie then?
I couldn't give up my act, but I'm going to need it now. It's all I have of my parents since I lost them both to illness because of your family.
I guiltily returned Raven's necklace to her and looked around the throne room suspiciously. Where are my parents and brother?
Sleeping soundly in their beds. You don't think those flowers in the forest were just there, right? Thanks to these guys, they helped me put some sleeping powder into the flowers and I planted them just where you'd find them. I know how hard it is for you to resist your favorite plant.
I couldn't believe Raven would trick me this way. I had been nothing but kind to her.
Anyways, I have a coronation to plan, so please, find yourself to your new quarters, which is the dungeon.
I was thrown into the dungeon the next morning. Dad, Mom, and Gerald were all thrown in there as well.
I keep telling you never to mix with poor people. I hope you've learned your lesson now.
For days, they wouldn't stop bickering about how everything was my fault, and I wished I could be anywhere else. My wish was finally granted the next week.
The queen seeks your presence.
I was escorted out of the dungeon to the throne room where Raven sat majestically. She motioned me forward and I approached her.
This is hard to say, but I need your help, Collins.
Now, why on earth would I help you?
I know I took your parents' crown away, but they've done worse.
And you threw us in a dungeon. I never even did anything to you.
Fine, I'll let you all out. Happy?
Yes, that's better.
Now that's settled, I need you to teach me how to be a proper queen. The kingdom isn't dead, and I want to marry Frank, Prince of Mayland, to save us. I heard he's your family friend and very wealthy.
He wasn't my friend. He was one of Gerald's thick-headed dumb friends. And hearing Raven talk about marrying him felt like such a punch to my guts. Fine, I'll teach you.
Thank you. And for what it's worth, I'm really sorry about everything. I enjoyed the time we spent together in the forest.
She avoided my eyes as she said the words, but I wasn't falling for the pretense this time. You don't have to lie to me any longer, I said and then walked away. As promised, Raven released my family from the dungeon and placed them in a house with thick security. On the other hand, I was free and helping Raven with her lessons. Steady, steady.
Thanks.
Raven was a quick learner. In no time, she was doing perfectly.
I think I've gotten the hang of this.
I spun her around as we danced, and when her skin touched mine, my heart felt like it was going to burst into 1,000 pieces. I was so caught up in the moment that I didn't notice when the music stopped, and I drew Raven close and kissed her without thinking. She returned my kiss, and when we were finished, she looked at me with those big brown eyes. I think I'm in love with you, Raven.
Collins, I'm sorry, but let's pretend like the kiss never happened. I have to marry someone else.
She ran out, leaving me standing alone in the ballroom inn. Since that day, she began to avoid me. The following week, Frank arrived in Setia, and Raven hosted a ball in his honor. Guests from all over the world arrived, and I was jealous as I watched Raven laugh at something he said. I had no idea what came over me, but I grabbed a glass of drink and headed towards them. As soon as I reached, I lifted it and spilled it on Raven?
What did you do that for?
I glared at Frank. It was like he had seen me coming and moved out of the way, just in time for my drink to spill on Raven instead of him.
You have no right to harm the queen. I'll protect your honor, your majesty.
Suddenly he shoved me. I shoved him back and we began to fight, ruining the entire ball. Raven was furious with me.
This was always your plan, to embarrass my position as queen and ruin my chances of finding a husband. I should have known better than to trust you.
She walked away from us while we were still on the floor, and Frank quietly slipped out from under me and out the door. Moments later, my parents and Gerald stormed into the room in anger.
Where's that throne thief?
As they burned with rage, I spotted Gerald and Frank shaking hands.
Thanks for getting us out. You're the best, bro.
I knew it! Frank had been up to no good, but before I could do anything about it, Raven came into the room and faced my parents.
You're all supposed to be locked up. How did you even get out?
Foolish girl. You didn't think an old-time friend of ours would just marry you while we were still being held hostage, did you?
Raven whistled, and all of a sudden her crew gathered behind her.
If you want the throne, you should know I'm not going down without a fight.
Gerald's eyes glinted with excitement at the mention of a fight, and the two sides squared up. I decided I had enough of everything and yelled, "Enough!" Everyone turned to look at me. None of you deserve to sit on the throne. I'm sorry to say, but you're all bad rulers. Dad, Mom, and Raven, you don't even know how to rule. Everyone noticed the commotion and gathered around as I spoke. They nodded their heads to everything I said. I think this time the people deserve to choose who rule them.
That's bloody ridiculous. Our generation has held this throne for years.
As he attempted to walk up to the throne, Raven and her warriors blocked him.
Colin is right. This town needs better.
The crowd agreed with me, and moments later, a vote was held and I was elected to be the king, but I didn't want it. I don't think I can do it. Raven walked up to me and touched me on the cheek.
You're the perfect leader, Collins. You're kind, passionate, and gentle. This town needs you. Not me or your parents. I allowed vengeance to cloud my mind and make me into a bad person. But you never hated me in spite of it. You still loved me.
Raven's words filled me with a lot of courage.
I'll only be able to do this with you by my side.
Then I'll be by your side. I'm sorry about everything, and I love you too.
She threw her arms around me and kissed me, and the next day the town crowned me king. I looked over my subjects and made one promise.
I will be a better king to you than my predecessors!
Then I looked at Raven and sneaked out a Middlemas flower from my pockets, which I tucked behind her ear.
At least this one isn't poisoned.
Oh, come on.
Raven laughed at my inside joke and hugged me.
I love you so much, Raven. Please, be my queen.
Really? Of course I'll be your queen.
I turned to the crowd and raised Raven's arm.
And this is your new queen.
Whoa, that was close. Ever since I was little, Dad and I have always been like two peas in a pod. We lived by the sea and swam together with the sea animals every day. But my mom, aka Miss Perfect, was never happy about anything. She loved complaining. Oh, and I forgot to mention, please like and subscribe to Storytime Animated.
Mom, meet my pet, Inky. Dad and I saved it from a shark.
What? Sea animals are not pets. They're dangerous. Your father knows better. We work with them every day. You're too paranoid. She loves the octopus and it's harmless. She can keep it.
My parents worked together as marine scientists at a multi-billion government research lab named Vaught's Lab. But they never saw eye to eye on things, especially with the sea animals they worked with. And she always liked picking a fight with Dad about money. Once Dad took us out to a fancy restaurant for my 15th birthday, Mom looked at the bill and threw such a tantrum, embarrassing both me and Dad.
Why would you bring us to a place that would cost us an arm and a leg? Calm down, darling. We can afford it. And plus, it's for our baby girl. Well, our lifestyle is getting a little too expensive, and one of us has to do something to make sure we don't lose everything.
I didn't know what Mom was talking about, but all I knew is that she just ruined my birthday. And then soon after, the next worst thing in my life happened. It happened during my school's talent show. I had been performing with Inky when cops suddenly stormed into the auditorium and headed straight for Dad and the crowd of parents.
Mr. Johnson, we're here to arrest you for fraud and illegal trade of sea animals from Vaught's Lab.
I couldn't believe my ears. I knew my dad. He loved animals. He'd never sell them. I ran down from the stage and grabbed the cop.
Let him go! My dad is innocent!
But they pushed me away like I was an insect and dragged Dad away. Everyone in the auditorium stared at us and I was so embarrassed. After that day, Dad's face was plastered all over the media. And in school, whispers started to fly around about my family. And one day, I overheard Elijah, a cop's son in my school, discussing my business in a crowd of people and it drove me crazy.
Don't you have something better to do than gossip?
Like committing fraud?
I lost it and pounced on him, but after a few seconds, the principal showed up and dragged me away from Elijah into his office, where he dropped a bombshell.
You'll be expelled.
What? That's not fair!
I don't want to do this, but your father offended the government, and it puts this school in a bad spotlight. There's nothing I can really do.
Like an outcast, I was banished from the school grounds. The only way my family and I would be fine again is if my dad was proven innocent. So I decided to snoop around the lab where my parents worked. As soon as Mom found out what I was up to, she went crazy.
Give it up! Your dad is a criminal! Do you also want to follow in his footsteps?
I couldn't believe the words coming out of her mouth.
Dad is not a criminal, Mom. Someone's probably setting him up. We need to search the lab. Dad keeps everything from work in there.
There are harmful chemicals in there. I am not letting you in. And stay away from the investigation. If the cops find out what you're up to, they could arrest you for interfering, and you'll end up like your criminal father.
Jeez, it feels like you don't care that Dad is in jail.
Mom ignored me, and her actions just didn't make any sense. Why was she not concerned about Dad the way I was? Mom started acting strange. Like one day, I opened my cupboards and found all my swimsuits shredded into pieces.
Mom, what is the meaning of this?
I'm just protecting you. Who knows? Maybe you carry the same madness like your dad. The further you stay away from the sea, the better.
The next day, she installed security cameras all over the house to make sure I never went near the sea or the aquarium. Well, she missed a spot, the backyard.
Get back into the house right now!
Mom's punishment made me so sad that I confided in Inky one morning. Even though he was an animal, I felt he understood me more than people. Sometimes I feel like Mom hates me. Inky pointed one of his tentacles to a poster of an event Dad wanted to take me to before his arrest. STA invites you to their annual Marine Life Festival, where we can all be free like the fish. Inky, you're a genius! You're right, I can find people that know Dad at that event and ask them questions. The next day, as soon as Mom left for work, I snuck out of the house in a disguise to the festival. As I walked around searching for familiar faces, I bumped into Elijah, and I hated to admit it, but he looked different, cuter. Not like it made any difference. He was the last familiar face I wanted to see. Are you blind? Couldn't you see me coming?
Sorry, I got distracted taking pictures of dolphins.
Was he apologizing? That didn't sound like Elijah at all. Maybe it was because he couldn't recognize me. Either way, I felt like a huge jerk. I'm sorry for yelling at you. Is that one of the pictures?
Yeah, just a couple of basic photos the organizers hired me to take.
Wow, he was a really good photographer. They're perfect.
I could take one of you if you want.
Of course I do. I posed next to the dolphins and Elijah took some great photos.
You are so photogenic. I feel like I've seen you before. What's your name?
I'm Kat. I have to go now.
Wait, can I at least get your number?
I quickly wrote down a fake number and hurried off before he recognized me. When I got home, Mom was waiting for me in my room. What are you doing in my room?
Did you really think I wouldn't notice your disguise at an event where my workplace was a sponsor?
Okay, maybe I should have done some browsing before sneaking out, but I had no idea Elijah was going to publish my photos. I'm sorry. I just needed to clear my head. A lot has been weighing on me, and Inky's the only one here for me. They're never here.
And now, he'll no longer be, because of your silly act.
Mom suddenly grabbed Inky's aquarium, and I just couldn't watch her take the only friend I had away. Mom, please, don't take Inky away!
I'm doing this for your own good. Sea animals are dangerous.
Inky squirted some ink at Mom's face in defense.
See? Dangerous! Just like I told you!
He's not! He felt threatened by you!
If you enjoy him that much, I'll lock you two in here forever!
Like a lunatic, Mom grabbed my room keys and stomped outside, then turned around to lock my door. Mom! Mom! Please unlock my door! No matter how loud I screamed, Mom pretended not to hear me, and I went over to Inky to complain some more about her. But to my surprise, he attacked me too! What are you doing? You're hurting me! After nearly an hour of struggling, Inky released me with a small bite, and when I looked at my face in the mirror, I let out the loudest scream ever, then zoned out. The next time I woke up, I found myself in the hospital with Mom beside my bed. What happened?
That octopus attacked you! I told you that sea animals were dangerous, but you never listened to me! I already took him out of your room.
Slowly, the events of that day poured into my brain. No, Mom, you can't! It wasn't his fault!
Shh. Don't stress yourself. I'll bet you're hungry. I'll order some food and head straight to work. See you later.
An hour after Mom left, someone walked into my room, and I was shocked to find Elijah with a pizza box.
Ma'am, you ordered for pizza?
Oh my god, not him again! I pulled the blankets over my face and changed my voice.
Welcome, strange boy I don't know at all. Just drop the pizza on the table and go. Thank you, Elijah. How do you know my name?
Oops.
Wait a minute.
Elijah suddenly walked up to me and pulled the blanket away from my face.
If it isn't the criminal's daughter.
If it isn't the dude who can't stick to one job, photographer, delivery man, what's the next thing?
That was you at the event? You must have had some fun tricking me, Kat.
You bet I did, and you fell for it. To my surprise, Elijah slumped beside me with a tired expression.
I guess I did. Deserve that for being a jerk, huh?
Yeah, you were a jerk at school, but I'm over that now.
I guess since I know about your dad, it's only fair I tell you about mine. He did some investment that didn't pay too well, and now he's broke. I have to work multiple jobs to help out.
I'm sorry about that. I wish there was something I could do to help.
It's fine. I'm sorry about your dad too. I don't really think he's a criminal. I was just being a jerk.
Elijah and I became cool, and when the hospital discharged me, he dropped me home, and to my surprise, Mom was quite welcoming. I guess my illness made her relax a little.
Why don't you come over for dinner someday? You can bring your parents too.
Sure will, ma'am. Goodbye, Elizabeth. After that day, Elijah and I hung out a few times around the beach, and I carefully followed Mom's instructions. I avoided the sea and never asked about Inky, so she wouldn't get upset with me again, which made her happy. But then, one midnight, I noticed something strange. I heard some noise and looked through the window, only to find Mom talking to some strange men beside a truck. It made me really curious, and I tiptoed outside to check what they were up to. And you'd never guess what I found at the back of the truck. Aquariums! Lots and lots of them. Mom? What's going on?
Just some work stuff. Nothing serious. Go back to bed, honey.
But Mom gently nudged me into the house, and I couldn't help but wonder why she was acting strange. My gut feeling told me that she was up to something. The next evening, when Elijah and his dad came over for dinner, Mom took a 360 turn.
Thank you for inviting us to dinner. It's good to see you're doing better after your husband's arrest. I know I'm a cop, but if you need a shoulder— Excuse me, you're a what?
Mom quickly rose from her seat and started to yell at Elijah's father like a maniac.
I don't want cops in my house! After what you did to my husband, you have so much guts! Leave this instant!
Jeez, what was wrong with her? Mom, please.
Don't worry, we're leaving. You're right. It was rude of me to show up here.
As soon as Elijah and his dad left, Mom faced me.
Didn't I warn you to stay away from the investigation?
I didn't know his dad was a cop. And since when did you care about Dad's arrest so much that you don't want a cop around?
Why don't you stay out of adults' business? Go play with your dumb octopus or something.
You took him away, remember? I miss Dad so much. You're so mean.
I dashed up to my room and shut the door behind me. I had just about enough of Mom and her harshness towards me. As I was lying in my bed, lost in thought, I suddenly heard pebbles softly hitting my window. It was Elijah! Oh, I was so excited to see him. With my help, he climbed into my room and I hugged him.
I'm so sorry about my mom's outburst.
It's okay. I wanted to make sure you were all right.
I was tired of keeping everything to myself and decided to let it all out.
I'm not. Mom is so difficult to live with, and she's been acting strange. I think she's up to something. Yeah, her outburst at the table today was unusual. What do you think we should do?
Investigate. I need to find out why she's suddenly acting this way. We'll start with that lab of hers.
I hid Elijah in my room for a few hours until I was certain Mom wouldn't be in the lab, at which point we snuck out and were met by Mom's security system.
Do you have any idea what it might be?
Yeah, I think I saw her type her password on her laptop once. Let me try anglefish.
And voila! It worked! Elijah and I went in and found so many animals and aquariums in the lab, including my pet octopus, Inky. I found some stash of papers near his aquarium and studied them.
Are those receipts and invoices?
Yes. I think my mom has been the one stealing sea animals from her workplace and selling them to people. And she was going to sell Inky as well. Poor Inky. No wonder he attacked me.
He could sense he was in danger when I couldn't even tell. Octopuses were really smart. I looked around and noticed that there was a lot of evidence against Mom, showing that she had framed Dad for her crimes.
Quick, take pictures of everything you find, Elijah. This is evidence that my dad is innocent.
Elijah started taking pictures and I grabbed Inky's aquarium. As soon as he was done, we hurried to the door, but not fast enough because Mom walked in on us.
If it isn't my foolish daughter and her boyfriend, you two should have never come here.
Give it up, Mom. We know what you've been up to. That's why you freaked out when you found out Elijah's dad was a cop, huh?
I was doing everything in here for us, but your foolish father, like you, couldn't understand. You two think you're so clever, but I'm making a lot of money for our family. How do you think we managed to afford all this?
I didn't ask you to commit crimes to make money. I just wanted a mother, and you were a terrible one.
Shut up, you ungrateful child!
Mom blocked the doorway with her body.
You'll have to go through me!
Well, that was easy. I held onto Inky as I ran, head straight into Mom, pushing her to the ground.
Come on, Elijah, let's hurry!
You'll regret this!
As Elijah drove us to his, 3 dark cars suddenly showed up and started chasing us. Elijah surprised me with his driving skills and managed to lose them.
Where did you learn to drive like that?
My dad is a cop, remember? I learn a lot from him.
As soon as we reached Elijah's house, he reversed his bike and his dad immediately came out.
Dad, we need your help urgently. What's wrong?
My mom is after us. We found out she framed my dad for her crimes. We have all the evidence here.
Wow, that's a lot. Hold on, kids. I'll get my keys and drive you to the station.
I didn't hesitate to expose my mom because what she did was so wrong and didn't even care about Dad, who always treated her like a queen. The next day, the news about Mom's crimes spread like wildfire, and she was arrested by a team led by Elijah's dad right before she could escape. He got a huge raise for his involvement in the case.
I never got the chance to say thank you for helping me. You're an amazing person.
You're amazing too. I hope we never stop being friends.
When my dad was released from prison, I was over the moon.
Dad, I've missed you so much. You weren't around and Mom made my life hell.
I heard about that. I wish she had listened to me, but she got too greedy.
Well, it doesn't matter now. She's paying for her crimes.
Yeah, you're right. Let's go home.
I'd take spending time with the people I loved any day over wealth and theft.
Oh, well, yeah.
Sparkle, quick! Take a look before my daughter runs out.
Mom always jumped up like a pigeon whenever she saw one of our neighbor's kids on TikTok, and she just loved comparing me to other kids who showed off their talents on social media.
Did you hear her voice? She's definitely going to be a star one day. Don't you want to be a star? All these books you're reading is not going to make you famous.
Books give me knowledge, Ma. There is nothing more important than knowledge.
We should be proud that our daughter is a genius. Shh! Do you want everyone to know that our daughter is a Miss Know-It-All? You know Mr. Mafia runs this town. If he finds out that she can calculate sums faster than him, we will be humiliated in front of the entire community.
Hello everyone, I'm Sparkle from the Philippines. Please like and subscribe to STA, where the best storytelling is made. Because I was born a genius, my teachers loved me to bits, and sometimes even let me lead their classes. I simply loved books, learning and teaching other kids. But not everyone was interested in books in my hometown. Being popular on social media is what everyone wanted.
Hey everyone, take a look at the new video on TikTok.
Hey, phones away. If you want to pass the test, pay attention to Sparkle. Her method is actually simpler.
Many kids looked up to me in school and had a lot of respect for me. But there was this one boy who always got on my last nerve. He was the son of the big bad Mr. Mafia who ruled our hometown. During recess or whenever he saw me, he was a pain in my neck, and his name was Tiger. Like, who names their kid after an animal?
Hey, smart girl. I have a ton of homework due on Monday. You can do it since you're the smart girl.
Hey, Tiger Breath, I'm not your servant. Ask your dad to hire a tutor, since your family takes 20% of everyone's hard-earned money.
Hey, how do you know what my family does?
It doesn't matter. I am the smart girl after all, so I guess I know everything.
Well, if my dad finds out that you're acting too smart for your shoes, there will be a price to pay.
Tiger's dad was a big businessman in town, and everything he did was against the law. He disliked anyone who knew more than him. And his bimbo son kept blackmailing me to do his homework, or else he will tell his evil father that there is a genius in town. I couldn't risk that, because my dad, who worked as a fish packer at the local fish market, would lose his job. I loved my dad so much, and would do anything to protect him. Mom was always so negative towards Dad because of his job title, the fish packer.
The air was fresh as pie while you were slaving away at that fish place. When will we ever buy a car like them folks across the road? Why do you always have to compare us to everyone else? Maybe if you could appreciate what you have, a car will fall from the sky. Oh, my family was right about you. You will always be nothing. Well, at least I try my best to pay for everything.
Why do you have to be so mean to Dad? He just got back from a long, tiring day.
You and your father are the same. I'll never be happy in this family unless we start our own show, like the Kardashians.
We're just a family of 3, and plus I don't want to be famous.
Fine, maybe I should start shopping for a new family. Oh.
When I finally fell asleep that night, I shot my eyes open again at the sound of screaming outside. What the freaking flies is up with these idiots? Everyone stepped outside of their homes and followed the ruthless gang, because this was Mr. Mafia's way of calling a meeting in the middle of the freaking night. So we all stood around looking like puppets, waiting to hear what the beast had to say.
Good evening, good people. I am sadly here at this hour because someone from your neighborhood forgot to pay their taxes.
Anger boiled up in me as this man spoke. He had no right taking from all these innocent people. Everyone remained silent.
Fine. If the culprit will not present himself in the next 5 minutes, then no one will sleep tonight or until the poison comes forward.
I took deep breaths to hold myself from speaking my mind, and then a nerve struck, and I couldn't take it any longer.
The hardworking people already pay their taxes to the government. If we all stand together and lay a complaint to the High Court, Mr. Mafia will be charged with treason.
Dad held my hand, while Mom held her head in shame, and then the wicked Mr. Mafia stood face to face with me.
You're just a little girl. How dare you disrespect me?
You disrespect every one of us every day, Mr. Mafia. I know what's right and wrong, and what you're doing is beyond wrong.
Please, forgive my daughter. She has this condition where she just opens her big mouth.
So you think you are smarter than me, little girl?
I'm actually born a genius. So yes, I do know a little more than you.
Fine. If that's the case, I'm sure you can stop being the breadwinner of your family. Because as of tomorrow, your fish-packing father will be jobless.
How will we survive now, Miss Genius? Come on, let's go back home. But he hasn't dismissed us. It doesn't matter now. I don't have a job.
I felt bad for Dad, but I knew if I could use the school computers, I would be able to find Dad another job on the internet, out of this town. This was not the end of the road for us. The next day, as I tried to enter the school gates, I was stopped by the security guard.
Sorry, Sparkle. I can't let you in.
Why not?
You was ordered by my dad. I told you there would be a price to pay, but you didn't listen.
I don't know. I was just trying to stand up for everyone.
Well, no one stood up for you, and now all your knowledge will go to waste. My dad is very powerful, and he has more money than you can ever imagine. You should have just stayed in your lane.
Tiger sounded almost like an intelligent person speaking. He surprised me. I guess his dad controlled him too. I couldn't go back home because Mom would talk too much, and I wanted so badly to help my dad find another job. As I walked in the mall, I stopped outside a glass window where there was a line of television sets inside the store, and the news was on. And then it struck me. The media! Mr. Mafia can never be more powerful than the media! I ran back home and tried to avoid Mom, but she had no mercy.
Why are you back so early, troublemaker? Do you know that I can't even sit outside on my porch and drink a cup of tea without everyone looking at this poor house? Why was I cursed with a child like you?
Oh, please, you were being so dramatic. I'm proud of what she did. That man treats everyone like a doormat. Someone had to stand up to him eventually.
And don't worry, Dad. I have a plan. Everything will be okay. Later that evening, I used Mom's binoculars to spy on our neighbors. I needed strong Wi-Fi access, something we were not privileged with. I know it was wrong, but I had to get their password. Once their lights were off, I ran downstairs with my heart pounding at the thought of breaking into someone's house. But I managed to see a loophole. The neighbors had a window which they struggled to close, so it was left slightly open. I took a deep breath and went in. Okay, here goes. When I was finally inside, I was lucky to find the laptop on the dining table, and I was even more relieved when it didn't request a password. I quickly found the Wi-Fi code, and just when I was about to make my exit, I heard something viciously growl at me. Nice doggy! I totally forgot about their dog, and if I wasn't so busy with my books, just maybe I could have been the dog's best friend by now. I'm sorry, doggy, but I need this code. Please let go now! I looked into the dog's eyes, almost pleading with her, and by some miracle, she let go of me and out I went. The password worked. It was the only way for me to start my own social media platform on YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. I couldn't sing or dance or do anything entertaining, but I could speak my mind, and this is what I did. Every child has a right to an education. Although I was born with a brain that is qualified to be a professor of science, math, and literature, I still need to go to school. In my hometown, everyone is afraid, but fear grows because of a lack of knowledge. We all deserve the right to speak our mind. My video went viral, and the next day when I woke up, I had reached more than 1,000 followers. And then Mom screamed out my name as if there was a fire. Sparkle! When I went downstairs, I found Tiger and his dad there. Mr. Mafia didn't look too happy.
What game are you playing at, little girl?
Oh, so I'm guessing you saw my social media video. Soon the whole world will know what a horrible man you are.
I think it's time you leave my house, Mr. Mafia.
Dad bravely stood up for me, and then Mr. Mafia suddenly pushed Dad to the ground, and before he could pounce on Dad, Tiger held him back.
Dad, let it go! Don't tell me what to do! Have you learned nothing from me, son? But if you leave people like this to walk all over you, then you will be taken for a ride down the pit of Loserland! You need to learn to take control!
I felt kind of sorry for Tiger. No wonder he was such a jerk at school. His father raised him to be mean.
Sparkle, I told you before my dad is very dangerous, and he can get you and your family banished from this town.
But he has already made our lives so difficult. I'm not even allowed to enter the school gates. No one will hire my dad. So how will we survive?
This is all you're doing! Why couldn't you be like all the other girls? Quiet
and famous, beautiful, naive? When will you ever accept me for who I am, Mom?
I have a plan on how to help you. Meet me at the park later this evening.
I didn't know if I could trust Tiger, but I needed any sort of assistance to get Mr. Mafia off my case. Dad insisted on accompanying me for my protection. We both waited nervously, and then Tiger appeared.
You brought your father along? You don't trust me? Of course we don't trust you, boy!
Dad, calm down. Tiger is not his dad. You're much better than that, right?
I don't know about that, but the only way you and your family can be protected from my dad's wrath is if you leave town or you help him make more money.
I will not help your dad make any illegal money.
Yes, I second that, so we might as well leave town.
And go exactly where, Dad? The house we live in belonged to Grandma. Are there any other family members out there that will take us in?
Look, you won't be making money illegally. My dad wants to know how to trade, but we don't understand all the information or the tactics of trading.
I don't know anything about trading. And besides, your family owns several businesses. Plus, you take money from the poor. Why does he even have to trade?
That's my dad. He always wants more, and then the more is never enough.
I found it ridiculous, but after discussing with my dad, we agreed that I would help him every day after school on condition that my dad gets his job back. So after Tiger spoke to his father, he agreed to the plan and I was allowed back to school. Everyone missed me and I missed them, and Tiger seemed to appear everywhere.
Hey, Sparkle.
What? Do you need me to do your homework?
I'm glad you're helping my dad. Everything is going to be fine now.
Okay. Are you sure that's all?
Yes. I have to go now. Bye.
Tiger acted strange, and after school when I was at his massive mansion, he was nowhere to be found. It was just me and Mr. Mafia.
So, Sparkle, did you study all the information on how to trade?
Yes, I did, and I think it's very simple.
Good. Here is my laptop. How much do I start with?
Let's start with the entry level and then see how that goes.
I allowed you into my house because my son says you can help me make billions. So let's see.
This was a lot of pressure. What would happen if I don't make enough money on his trading platform? I stayed in one spot the whole day trying to make Mr. Mafia more money.
So, how much did you make today?
$50,000.
50? Oh wow, you are a genius. I'm keeping you forever.
Haha, very funny. It's late, I need to go home.
My son is outside waiting. He will drive you.
When I was in the car with Tiger, he looked very uncomfortable to be around me. Something was definitely up. Okay, stop the car!
What? Are there cops behind us? What happened?
You! What's up with you? You were weird at school, and you're weird now.
Nothing's wrong.
Tiger, you are not your father. I can see that you want to be a good person. Please tell me what's going on.
My dad is trying to make more money so he can buy the school land and start an illegal oil factory. And he spoke to your mom today. We will be married after we complete high school.
My jaw dropped speechless, and then anger started fuming inside me like a chimney on fire. What the freaking chihuahua? Your dad is so evil, and I'm sure my mom gladly agreed to the wedding proposal, but I will not marry you.
Oh, is there something wrong with me? My dad always says I'm a good for nothing. I can be better.
Tiger, it's not you. We are still so young and their plan is so ridiculous. They can't just plan our futures like that.
Yeah, you're right.
Tiger was a boy who was put down by his father all the time. He didn't love himself, and when I moved his hair away from his face, I was taken back at how gorgeous his eyes were. Wow, you have beautiful eyes. I never noticed before.
My dad says they're girly eyes.
No, I love them. I wasn't madly in love with Tiger. I wanted him to know that I cared.
I can help you expose my dad for all the illegal things he's doing.
Tiger was willing to put his father in prison. I guess he too had had enough of his narcissist power trip. Tiger and I were on a mission during the Katawayan festival to bring Mr. Mafia's corruption to an end. Tiger showed me where his father's secret office was. He started by opening an old rusty door outside a very creepy building. Are you sure we're safe here?
I got you. I won't let anything happen to you.
I felt instantly attracted to Tiger when he sounded so brave. As soon as we were in, Tiger immediately went to the bookshelf and pulled out a tape.
My dad has been using this tape for many years to blackmail the mayor. That's how he gets away with all the crime and taking people's money. Our town is overdue for a new mayor. This right here is a recording of how the mayor spoke about the real plans he had for the people. All he cares about is himself.
How do you know about this tape?
My dad used to bring me here all the time when I was little, and when I was around 9 years old, I witnessed everything and saw where he hid the tape. He took my childhood mind for granted.
Tiger let me listen to the recording, and the mayor was planning on destroying many educational facilities so that he could make more money by building hotels for tourists. I was so mad. Tiger, I know just how we are going to expose your father and the mayor. Tiger and I were lucky enough to get out of that dingy place without anyone seeing us. I took him back to my place, and thank goodness the house was empty because Mom also loved all the festivals. Hello, fellow citizens. Today, most of us shall receive our freedom and the bad people will be locked away. Before I show you what our mayor really feels about us, I want to say only this. Education gives you power to make a better world, and money gives you the power to control our better world. But enough is enough. Tiger and I exposed the mayor and his dad through social media, and justice finally played its part. Our communities were no longer forced to give away their hard-earned money unnecessarily, and I could have been a doctor, a scientist, or anything I wanted, but I chose to teach. I loved sharing my knowledge and making everyone's future bright. All right, everyone, I want you all to put your hands together for our special guest at school. Welcome, Mayor Tiger. He sure did look fine in a suit, and as he was giving his speech to the students, he suddenly stopped and took me by surprise.
There's a new movie that came out recently. If you're free on Saturday...
Yes, I'd love to go out on a date with you.
Thank you, my first lady.